Guys, let's watch this video before we start with what I'm exactly about to share. Okay, let's go.
Eno ye Rwanda gy'otogenda kulaba ku internet. Nasazeewo mbalage sayidi bbiri ewali abagagga n'eno mu ghetto. Enguudo wonna nkole. Naye olina okwegendereza ludda wa gy'osuze kuba ghetto zo nnyingi ate ng'era tukyali mu kigali wakati. Bw'oba wayise sayidi ya Gatuna olabira ddala obwavu obukyali mu Banyarwanda kuba abamu basulana mu nnyumba za ssubi oba nga za budongo. Guys, emmere si nnyingi. Twabadde tusula ku apartment nga tulina okwefumbira, twayingidde obutale ng'emmere si nnyingi. Ne mu supermarket emmere era teriimu. Products ntini nnyo eziri international ze bayina. Product yokka gye nalabye eva e Uganda ya Movit. Olina okutwala eddagala lyo kuba amalwaliro si mangi. Twafuna omwana eyatulwalako naye ng'era amalwaliro ga kunoonya nnyo. Guys, e Rwanda tebalya kukkuta. Ekyo olina kyegendereza.
All right, now that we've watched the video and it's out of the way, let's talk about the video. But before we could get into the video, I want you to walk with me as we delve deep into this video, because there are certain aspects that I want us to explore. But as we get into the video, I want us to guide our emotions. Let's not be extremely emotional. Let's not burst out because of probably what she said. But I want to encourage you that if there's anything that you want to share that is clarifying anything with what Sarah Jan is, as far as what Sarah Jan is sharing, please use the comment section properly and let us know. Now let's dive into the facts. In the video, she uses Uganda and she describes basically, she says, when she went to Rwanda, she decided to show the better side of Rwanda, the good side of Rwanda, which shows the beautiful infrastructure, the beautiful roads, you know, how motorists followed the rules. Actually, in one of the videos that I will be sharing shortly, she said that in Rwanda, when you're riding on a motorcycle, it is a must for you to have a helmet. Something that is not the case in Uganda. You can ride however you want, except for these transport companies like Safe Border and the like. Those try to follow the rules, but nobody really cares for seat belts, speed governors. These are narratives that come and go. Police enforces once in a while when they need some money, and then they forget about it. Goes back to business as usual. Now, she talks about the food also, beautiful food. But then she went to the other side that she says we are not short, which is, it's a ghetto called Gatuna. Now, she says people living in Gatuna, this condition, the roads are made, the roads are in good shape, but the infrastructure in as far as accommodation there and housing is bad, to the extent that people are still live in grass-thatched houses or in mud and water houses. That's what she said. Although in the video, myself, I did not see those mud and water houses. I only saw houses that are demolished, I think being prepared for construction. That's what I saw personally. Secondly, she said when you go to Rwanda, they don't really have a lot of international products. The only international product that she saw there was one from Uganda called Movit. Movit is a cosmetic product made by a cosmetic company in Uganda called Movit. All right. And then she said in Rwanda, when you're visiting Rwanda, you have to move with your own medicine because hospitals are not as many as they are in Uganda. I don't know how true that is. That's why I told you guys you need to use the comment section properly and let us know out here. All right. She said they had someone fall sick and there was trouble getting even the nearest clinic to get them treatment. I don't know how true that was, but that was her experience, because she's somebody that travels and gives you an experience of what is happening in a certain country. That's Sarah Jan for you. Go over to her TikTok and see what majority of the work that she does. Then she also said that in their apartment that they had rented to stay, there was no food, so they had to cook their own food. But even when they went to the market to look for food, there was little food to find. There was no variety compared to what it is in Uganda. Uganda is a food basket generally. Too much food out here, which could be a different narrative in Rwanda. Yeah. Then she concluded by saying that in Rwanda, people don't eat to get satisfied. So I imagine that people eat for survival. In Rwanda, you don't eat to get satisfied. You just eat for survival. Now, that said, someone else also that went to Rwanda is called Chicken. He's also is a TikTok sensation here in Uganda. I also want us to watch this video that Chicken shared about Rwanda. All right, let's stay with me.
Olaba Rwanda abantu bye bajjogerako ku ssimu si byeri ebyaddala. Rwanda bw'otuukayo balina akatundu kaabwe ke basinga okutuutumya nnyo bakayita convention center. Ke katundu abasinga bakubira ebifaananyi ne batutera ku internet. Batuleetera okulowooza nti Rwanda eringa UK. Ne to be honest, Rwanda erina obukubo weebuti. Kyova bavuga speed nkaaga nti tosobola na kuyisa.
So this guy says that what they say about Rwanda on the internet in terms of the beautiful Rwanda they talk about is not actually what is there in reality. He alleges that in Rwanda, the only place that people actually use to market the nation is the so-called convention center, which is this big arena where lots of sports happen and events happen. But they do not show you the other ugly side of Rwanda. He says that Rwanda has very small roads. That's why there's a rule, just like one that was introduced recently in Uganda here, the automated transport system whereby people have to drive at a certain speed limit. Now in Rwanda, the highest speed limit I think in certain areas is 60 kilometers per hour. And for him, the reason he gives for that, according to his observation, is due to narrow roads, which I don't think makes sense. I don't think it makes sense. For as long as a road is good, narrow or wide, the car can go as fast as it can. You only have to follow the rules and go by what it says. That's what I think.
Okategedde. Just tukula change simako tukula balina mapeera. Tebalina bizimbe ebyo naawe. Obuzimbe bwabwe bumpi. Okujjako nti kale balina mukuzi woteri naye era si nnyingi. KFC balina mmeka. KFC balina egi. Mu Rwanda yonna eri awo Remera bayitawo Remera.
He says he also alleges that in Rwanda they don't have big like skyscrapers like it is in Uganda. I don't know how true that is. However, he says Rwanda is clean, but also he has said that Rwanda has only one KFC outlet, which I believe is not something to really look out for, because KFC shouldn't be something to brag about. It's a fast food junk entity establishment that is only designed to sell junk food, which is not healthy for the bodies. So I imagine that if it's not there, probably it's due to policy, because Rwanda has a strict policy in as far as international business is concerned, in that if you want to bring an international establishment, there has to be a certain level of involvement by a Rwandan citizen or business. Rwanda has to have a hand in it, a representative from there, so that in one way or another, there is how should I say? It's a policy that is designed in such a way that for you to have business in their country, you have to have a certain percentage of Rwandans working in bigger positions. So that's why I think international business are not really there. It's not really that they are backward or anything.
Baina kefuseji Rwanda. Bwemba nimba bereyo munyarwanda ajja agamenti nimba.
Ate abakazi abanyirira betulaba.
Abakazi bemulaba ku kamera abanyirira tebaliyo tobalaba ku street. Mwebali mu Rwanda wabula babera indoors. Rwanda abantu batyo okufuluma okumenya amateeka kuba gakola. Ewabwe system ekola. Teri ebyo byakutaya ya system ekola. Mtibokera
amabala gakeesa go.
Amabala gabo gaggalawo sawa 8 ogologgo. Kati Rwanda kyebalina kye nasiimayo. Bwe bakusanga ovuga bakuba nga bakusanze ovuga ng'otamidde bakusiba wiiki namba. Teri nti no wadde yenguzi tekola enguzi ewaabwe tekola.
Now, something else he is noted, he said that in Rwanda, the beautiful girls that we see in Rwanda are actually not there, because people in Rwanda do not like staying outdoors for fear of breaking the laws. So people live in constant fear for fear of breaking the laws. I don't know how that makes sense. I think I've heard that this is not the first time I'm hearing that kind of stuff. I've heard that from an American influencer who also said that he went to Rwanda in hopes of meeting these beautiful women they see on the internet, but they're not there. You know, they are not there at all.
Sango ovuga otamidde era nga bakusiba bwe bakwata ogwokusatu nga bakuggyako pamiti kuba tokkirizibwa vuga Rwanda biko.
Something else he talked about, the strict rules in as far as drink driving is concerned, that when they find you when you're drink driving, you are arrested for 1 week and then you're let go. If they find you again, you're penalized by taking away your driving permit. Now, these are learning curve for every one of us who's just interacting with this video. I've never been to Rwanda, and I'll be very happy to have you guys in the comment section sharing with us.
Ekola ne wano balesa amateeka ag'emmotoka bikini gagenda kukola omwezi gumu bano bakabya kajanja.
Yes, then he says that the nightlife in Rwanda is actually boring, and he alleges that nightclubs in Rwanda close at 2 p.m. I don't know, did he mean 2 p.m. or 2 a.m.? He said 2 p.m. This is quite a lot to download, eh? That said, everything that I've shared with you guys is something that I want us to focus on and share your thoughts, because now the reason as to why I made this video is so that we debunk and also inform appropriately. For me, in all these videos that I've shared, one thing that really caught my attention is what Sarah Jan alleges. the food allegation. She said that there is no food in Rwanda. So I decided, well, how about we dig deeper a little bit, just to find out exactly how true is our allegation about the lack of food in Rwanda. So I did a little digging and just going to go through a few things. So I went to a certain website called The Elephant. It's an African analysis and opinion and investigative online platform. I think it's based in either in Johannesburg or something. And then I came upon an article written by Victor Ingabire Umhoza, who is a Rwandan politician, a former political prisoner, and founder and chair of the Development and Liberty for All political party, which is yet to be registered in Rwanda. You know, I really have some reservation when it comes to opinions written by the so-called, political prisoners and stuff like that, because most of the times their opinions lean to a certain side because they want to drive a certain narrative, which is okay. But then let's examine the facts. She wrote an opinion and said that, so, and also being that she's Rwandan, I imagine that she understands what exactly is happening there. The opinion reads, the 2024 report on the state of food security and nutrition in the world presents sobering statistics. For instance, the number of undernourished people in Rwanda has increased from 3.3 million between the years of 2004 to 2006 to 4.3 million in 2021 to 2023. That's a huge increase. Although the prevalence of undernourishment in the total population has decreased from 36.9% between the years of 2004 to 2006, that means, let's look at the population of Rwanda. The population of Rwanda is about 13 million people. Now, when we look at a percentage of 36.9% between the years of undernourished people between the years of 2004 2006, that percentage represents, out of 13 million people, it means that between the year of 2004 to 2006, a total of 5,145,550 people were undernourished. Wow, that's a big number. Were undernourished in Rwanda. And then it dropped to 31.4% in 2021 to 2023. That means that it dropped to, looking at the percentage juxtaposed by the total population of people, it means the number dropped by 4,380,300 people. That means in a span of 20 years, a total number of 765,250 people were able to get nourishment. For a period of 20 years, that's a very small percentage of people, if you ask me. Despite this improvement, this drop from 36.9% to 31.4%, it still remains above the East African percentage of undernourishment among the people, which is around 29%. So, as well as the one of Sub-Saharan Africa, which is 22.7%, and Africa overall, which is 19.9%. It is above, it's also above that of low-income countries, which is 29.7%, and at least developed countries, which is 22.1%. Wow, that goes to show you that Rwanda actually has the highest number of people that are undernourished in the Sub-Saharan Africa. Wow. The number of people unable to afford a healthy diet in Rwanda is also increased from 9.8 million in 2017 to 10.4 million in 2022. That proportion of the population unable to afford a healthy diet in percentage terms in Rwanda is 75.7%. This is higher than the East African percentage, which is 73.7%. Sub-Saharan, the one for Sub-Saharan Africa, 72.2%. Africa overall, 64.8%, and in low-income countries, 71.5%. Wow, the cost of healthy diet in Rwanda has increased from 3.09 cents purchasing power parity dollars per person per day in 2017 to $3.8 per person as of 2022. Oh my God, this is actually screaming. Now, I think it's important to ask ourselves, why is this happening? Now, according to this report, it says that first and foremost, the government must confront the issue of food waste that is estimated by the World Bank at 40% of total food production each year in Rwanda only. Wow. So it doesn't really make sense to me for a country to have people not be able to afford food and then it having higher rates of food wastage. How is that possible? Can somebody explain to us? Now, despite some progress, food waste remains unacceptably high in Rwanda. The food waste index report shows that while household food waste decreased from 164 to 141 kilograms per person per year between 2021 to 2024, this is still far above what is sustainable. To put it in context, every kilogram of food wasted represents a missed opportunity to feed someone in need in Rwanda. The government can implement stricter regulations, incentives, responsible consumption, and raise public awareness. So what I take out of this is that it seems like in Rwanda, people that actually have food waste it a lot, and people that don't have food actually don't have it at all. And it's the small population of Rwandans that access a lot of food and cannot actually share it to the rest of the people. However, what actually also caught my attention is what she said to do with middlemen, that in Rwanda, when farmers get the food from the gardens, they do not take it to the they do not take it to the market like it is in Uganda by themselves. Instead, they are middlemen that buy from farmers and then sell to the people. So you realize in every business, when there's a middleman is always designed naturally to make a profit. So when the price at which they get from the farmer is definitely going to be different in the market. So in that sense, it inflates the prices, which means that only people that, when the prices get inflated, only people that can afford that food, which are mostly people that have the money or are affluent, will be the ones that will access that food. Which makes sense that when the rich people buy this food in Rwanda, they buy it in plenty to the extent that sometimes it goes into waste, which would have fed a poor Rwandan who could not afford the food. Now it makes sense. Do you see what I'm saying? Currently, many farmers are forced to go through middlemen who are licensed by the government to sell their products. The system not only inflates food prices across the country, making it harder for the average Rwandan to afford healthy food, but also contribute to inefficiencies and waste. Farmers have voiced their dissatisfaction with this model, which undermines their ability to make profit from their hard work. Instead of relying on middlemen, farmers should be empowered to sell their produce directly to consumers and markets, ensuring they retain the greater share of the profit. By doing so, they can reduce food prices, minimize waste, and provide greater economic security for the rural communities that are the backbone of Rwanda's food agriculture sector. This I think with a little this I mean the report has quite a lot. But then with this picture, I think I get to understand where Sarajan is coming from. It's likely that whatever that has been pointed here is actually happening in Rwanda, unless otherwise. I would suggest that we give Rwanda some grace and not be quick to judge. You understand? Uganda is bigger than Rwanda, and that means there's quite a lot for you to see in Uganda because it's big. But Rwanda is small, and it's, I think, the most densely populated country in Africa. So you just need to cut these guys some slack, let them develop, because so far so good. I've not been to Rwanda, but I've definitely planned to go out there. And I want to tell you guys, regardless of what you say about Rwanda, I believe that these are guys that are, if you allege that that Rwanda is actually far back as far as development is concerned, in terms when you compare it with Uganda, I would just laugh at you guys and because you really don't know what you're talking about. These are people that have successfully convinced the world that Rwanda is the place to be. These are people that have successfully marketed their tourism sector more than any other African country has done. This is a country that has been able to convince us that it is the cleanest country in Africa. Without a doubt, it has been there. You not dispute it with whatever you're saying because they have successfully marketed it that way. Do you know why America is great? America is not the best country in the world, but these people have successfully made us believe that if you want to make it in life, you have to go to America, you know. But then the media will paint Africa as a continent that is very unsafe to live in. Yet, at the backyard of America, children cannot go to school without protection because there are constant shootings. Gun violence is at its peak as I speak right now. You know, insecurity is all over the place. People are homeless. People don't have homes. In America, people sleep in cars, people sleep on the streets, but you don't see that a lot on the media. Because why do you think so? Because they choose and pick what you should see, and they push that as much as they can just to make you buy that idea. All right. So I'll applaud Rwanda on this one. Otherwise, guys, next time I'll just come and delve deep into the housing issue that Sarajan pointed out. She said people in Rwanda actually live in grass-thatched houses. How is that possible? Join me next time as we discuss this. See you then.